All right, guys, give me a couple minutes. Let me make sure that I have this going the right way. One second. You guys can hear? All right, guys, give me a couple minutes. Cool. Let me make sure that. So, let me go to what today's updates are. Let me scroll up. It's been a little bit busy trying to debunk some stuff. All right, so we're on day 10, and according to a lot of the law enforcement sources I have here, they really have no idea of where or what he's doing. So they do have a heavy presence. There are no sightings today. The last confirmed sightings were yesterday and then on Wednesday. Today they're searching the woods, canvassing as normal. Let me go through this chat, make sure I get 1 second. Okay, yeah, so that's really the update is we're just gonna wait for some stuff to go down, and there is no update. There's obviously a heavy law enforcement presence. There's going to be a heavy law enforcement presence until this thing comes to an end. So I moved it from Twitter to YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook just because of the commenting issue. So let me see. All right, cool. Anyway, so we are on Longwood Road and Conservatory Road. There's like media set up here, which is why we're not going to stay too long here. I just came here to help one of the guys working charge his equipment because their battery died. So we're gonna just be here for about 30 or so minutes. But as you can see, there's a trooper here with rifles. With a rifle, there's a trooper basically everywhere. This seems like a pretty tight perimeter, but we've been seeing this for 10 days now. It's nothing new to the people that have been watching. On the way here, there was a little bit of law enforcement activity at Longwood. They're supposed to cut down the fields today to try to help end the search and limit his hiding spots. Other than that, there's really no update at all, other than they are looking for him and he's still at large. They're really relying on the residents to call in any suspicious activity, any sightings. If they hear anything, to call them, call the police. Other than that, I mean, they're doing everything they can, but the community is playing a big part in this investigation. If it wasn't for the community, they would really be in the dark. So it's important that if you live in the area to keep calling 911 if you see something, remain vigilant. Don't take things into your own hands. We saw how that can go. And I believe this is actually, so this is the wall I was talking about. It's not this exact location, but somewhere on this road, they found a chipped wall that they bagged and put into evidence, thinking that he chipped it when he climbed up to enter the property. I'm not sure how they came to that conclusion. I know that also a police car hit another side of the wall, but that's not related to this. This is a different wall. So, yeah, so the plan here is going to be to stay here for about 30 minutes, and then we're going to go to a resident's house who has access to that creek and that like sort of the heavy wooded area, just to show you guys what it looks like in Cavalcante's perspective and in his shoes and the conditions that he has to go through when he's evading these guys. That's somebody's backyard, so it's not the search area, but it's a good example of the terrain out here, and it's as close of a perspective as we're going to get. But we moved it to 3 platforms just to make sure that everybody can watch it. I know a lot of you guys wanted YouTube or Facebook. Some of you guys said Twitch or whatever. I don't think, and TikTok. I don't typically go live, so on TikTok, I don't think that would work with this program. But anyway, as long as you guys are able to see, that's all that matters, and able to comment. because the commenting was terrible. A full view. I don't know. Let me see. I don't know. I'm gonna figure out how that would work. I'm gonna ask somebody that's a little bit more savvy to this multi-streaming stuff than I am. But for right now, there's nothing going on other than what you guys are seeing here. Just one, two, three, four, five, six, seven troopers right here on this block. Um, one, two, right over here. One on foot here. You can see he has his rifle out. Um, and yeah, guys, the choppers have been here for 10 days. There was activity here last night. There's going to be activity until they catch him. There's really no way, no reason to hype anything up. So it's no there's no developments. They're still searching. They're staging throughout Longwood. They believe he's, I guess, on the property. They have a good reason to believe, but um, there really isn't any update at all. So what we're going to do is stay here for a little, and then we're going to go on a little tour again, but take you guys to like the creek area, a wooded area that's on private property, and then hope for some updates to come in. I could say that they pulled back. I don't want to say they pulled back assets, but what they did is they scaled it back temporarily for unless something pops off. So if there's a positive sighting, they're going to call the assets back, and they'll be here rather quickly. But right now, they don't need all of those assets. They have what they need. The state police is still here, FBI, Homeland Security, tactical teams, but there's no need for other equipment that they had on location as of right now. Yeah, I'm shocked that YouTube approved it so quick. I guess it's because so many of you guys um, subscribed rather quickly. Um, I didn't know that there were that many of you guys interested in this to begin with, but as soon as I sent out that tweet, I think we're at like 2,000 something on YouTube subscribers in a matter of like an hour. So it approved it. I'm assuming because I'm live on YouTube, so and Facebook, which is you don't need like a limit on followers or subscribers to do that. But I was planning just Facebook and Twitter until YouTube approved it, but apparently they did. So yeah, everywhere we go, it's funny. A lot of people recognize us, and that's good. We don't want to be recognizable here for anything negative. We're here to help you guys, and that's been the overwhelming consensus. We haven't had any negative interactions with residents or law enforcement. Everybody's been cool. Law enforcement's very professional, and you guys can see they're heavily manned. This is just one little section, a tiny section of where you're going to see law enforcement. I mean, this is what, one block, and you see two, four, six, more, six, seven marked police cars. It's a little bit hot, but not as bad as I guess 2 days ago. But literally on Longwood and Conservatory, just came here because there's nowhere else to really head right now. I'm gonna ask him how to do the. I'll ask him after. Right now he's live, but I'll walk up to him and ask him if he can help out. So we're on day 10. We thought yesterday we'd have some good luck, given the fact that there were two sightings, one from the FBI and one from state police who didn't give chase. The state police saw him on the ground and they didn't give chase. I'm trying to find out why that is. I'm sure there's a reason, but we just don't know, and we can't really assume. So we'll wait in here. I reached out. I didn't hear back. I'm sure they'll hold a press conference and answer that. I'm not going to go to the press conference unless I have to. Really, there's 3,400. That's funny. So yeah, I think he'll be found. I have confidence in law enforcement, and especially in Pennsylvania, these guys are rather good. There have been recent manhunts, like Michael Burham. I was saying he was on the run for 9 days, and we thought nine was a lucky number, but we're on day 10. But this terrain is much different than the Michael Burham um, manhunt, according to what some troopers here were telling me that were involved in that manhunt. They said that one was much easier. He was caught right by the prison, just similar to this situation where they believe Cavalcante is in the area. And it's almost a mirror image of what we saw with Michael Burham, the heavy police presence. We didn't see Homeland with Michael Burham or any of those guys. So they have a lot more resources here from the federal government than they did in that manhunt. So again, we're at Longwood and Conservatory. We're only going to be here probably for 30 minutes. I just wanted to hop on because a lot of you guys were asking for updates. I was trying to set this up, so I couldn't respond. There aren't any updates except some assets have been placed on standby, which is basically them waiting in the area, those that aren't from the area. So like when some resources came from New York, New Jersey, but they were told to just stay local and be on standby in case they need to move in with additional stuff. So they're not here at the scene. They're at hotels or whatever, resting, but they can get here rather quickly, need be. And if there's any activity worth bringing them in, they'll be here within like 10 minutes. So they're on standby. A lot of people are, and gardens remain closed for obvious reasons. They opened them up naively, and Cavalcante was apparently there that entire, like he was seen there the night before, so he could have been there while they were open for all we know. They haven't released the surveillance, which is interesting. We thought by now they would have. It's from Wednesday night. We found out about it in real time on Wednesday when they found it at around 5:30, 5:45, and swarmed the area. I think there were news reports going around that he was sighted there, and that's why they were swarming it. But that wasn't true. It was the fact that they had just pulled the camera and saw him the night before, which is why they did that out of an abundance of caution. That's why they returned to the scene like that, and it became very evident that he was hopping back and forth. So cutting the fields is a good tactic. That's going to be a way to limit his hiding spots. If he's in the corn, there won't be anywhere to hide when they chop that up. They're chopping up a lot of brush, like areas like that. And I'm gonna have to figure this stream stuff out so I can zoom in a little bit. But like areas like that, they're gonna basically mow and make it harder for him to go from the woods into the fields without being seen. And the cornfields are very important because they kind of surround, or not the cornfields, whatever those fields are called. That's why comments were important yesterday. No, the trees they're not cutting. They don't need that because they'll be able to corner. If they can keep him in the woods, that's kind of their goal. They want to kind of surround him and push him into the center or towards law enforcement. So it's the only thing they have planned is to cut those fields and the shrub, like all the weeds and greenery out on the outside. But the fields are important because he can crawl out of the woods and go through the corn without being detected rather easily. We showed you guys a couple of nights ago from a resident's home who was across from one of those fields how you can maneuver without being seen. A resident showed you an example. He took about like maybe 5 feet into that field, and he just ducked down, and there was no way to see the guy. But it's good that we have comments on, so that way we can see what you guys are saying or read what you guys are saying. And again, it's just like normal activity. They're gonna circle. They're gonna stand by. They're gonna be on patrol. Last night, what we saw, it was kind of interesting last night. So they must be very certain that he's here because a 911 call came in at around 11:59 p.m. in an area that we visited just 2 days before that. The place is called Menden Hall. The hotel that we parked up at. And Menden Hall is right near Fairville Road, where police responded to 2 nights ago for something related to the manhunt. And 2 days later, they received a call for another road, Rosendale, I believe it is. And those roads both connect to the train tracks that lead to Ace Hardware and to the creek that leads to Longwood Gardens. So when we got there, we saw one officer there. Well, about 45 minutes. We were there 45 minutes after the call came in. And I'm not sure if that was the first responding officer, but we saw one officer driving into the neighborhood. But that was it. The person that made the 911 call said that they were passing by. I think they're a friend of the person who owns the property, and they saw somebody matching the description of the escaped prisoner running through the backyard by the barn and sneaking into the woods. So they did. They got there. But how do you clear a call that quick? That's what's interesting. At something like for something like this, um, unless it was a very uh, bizarre call, you still would expect a little bit of a presence, especially if he's been there, um, or if there was police activity related to the manhunt 2 days before. Then it's a little bit strange, but they must be certain that he's in Longwood Gardens somewhere for them to simply surround the gardens and have a perimeter. But he has proven to us a few times that the perimeter has been a little bit, he was able to navigate his way out of it. Not that it wasn't secure. I mean, these guys had it on lock. You saw how when they had the Water Glen sighting, not the first one, I'm losing count of how many, the most recent one, where about 4 neighbors called in, plus Lenape Road. Officers were told to get out of their vehicles and face the perimeter and light it up. So they lit it up, and it was so airtight. You guys saw how many officers there were. I mean, we were in maybe a small section like this, where it was kind of like a fork or a Y, and we saw 3 troopers just about the same distance with their lights on, and it went all the way up that Lenape and Parkersville Road, and also to Water Glen and around Water Glen. So he was able to slither out of that without being spotted. But it's really only a matter of time. If he's in the woods, it's a matter of time until they limit his hiding spots by plowing through the fields, harvesting the corn early. And for local farms, that's going to be a little difficult because they rely on harvest season, so they don't want to prematurely cut their crops. So we're hoping that local farmers aren't also affected. But again, it's a major public safety concern when you have an escaped murderer on the loose. You kind of have to do what you have to do to bring this thing to an end and take him either back to prison or to the morgue. And those are the only 2 options, like we've been saying for the past 10 days. It's either going to be the morgue or to the prison. Is that better? Is that better for you guys? Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so essentially, there are no updates at all. Just like last night, we stuck around until like 3 a.m., which is funny because somebody tweeted that she couldn't believe that she just spent her Friday night watching a spotlight on a cornfield. And that's what we all were saying. We were saying we can't believe we just spent Friday night hanging out with a spotlight in a cornfield. But it's what a lot of you guys wanted, I guess, just to see what's going on or feel involved with the manhunt or keep an eye out for your community. And we waited for any updates. There was nothing. A lot of, I don't want to say like rumors, but just a lot of hype was going around for stuff that we've been seeing for the past 10 days. Like this scene right here, people would hype it up because there's so many police cars. But there's a manhunt, so there's going to be police cars everywhere, you know. So it's not unusual to see police activity at a manhunt. Now, if we showed up here and there wasn't any activity, which is, I guess, that was the development last night at that one location with no activity. I don't know how they can clear a call so quick, but I'm not privy to those details of what the nature of the like what the call actually said. We only heard the dispatch, but a police presence isn't action. You know, it's just what that's their job. They're not gonna they're doing what they're supposed to do. They have to keep a perimeter, and this isn't like an action movie or anything. You know, this is real life for a lot of these people, and we have to take that into consideration when covering it or filming it or streaming it. Um, this area, people live here. You know, you don't want to scare them, and you don't want to hype them up or keep them up all night thinking there's an update, which is why a lot of our streams are rather boring when it comes down to like 2 or 3 a.m., with the exception of a few nights, because we want to kind of show you guys what we're seeing, which is nothing, rather than hanging out where there's a little bit of activity with police cars. So you guys think something's going on. We're not going to do that. If there's nothing going on, we're not going to be hanging around. Like, this is the first time we're going to sit like this just to give you guys a little update. But scenes like this, for the most part, we're not like the neighbors, at least, or the community, they're not interested in seeing parked police cars. They want to see the areas of interest. They want to see if there's a patrol in that area. They want to see patrol cars in similar, like past sightings in the past 10 days. They want to know of any developments. And when there are developments, we hop right on them. Like you guys saw last night, as soon as they confirmed the two sightings, we were all over that, you know. And there's a lot of bees here, so I don't like bees. And go over here. But we're not, and we're not here to like slam anybody either. I mean, they're just doing what they do when it comes to like streaming or news reporters. But we're not here to hype anything up. There's literally nothing. And even the news has been doing a good job at kind of showing that there's nothing going on. You know, I'm wondering if I have to also need to charge my AirPods now that I'm here, just because it'll be a little easier. Can you charge these? We're just gonna get some stuff charged up, speak with a few neighbors, where we're gonna head next, figure out the nooks and crannies of this StreamYard thing, so make sure we're doing it right. But I'm pretty sure we are. So, well, it looks like we are because everybody's able to see, and I can see all the comments from like. I'm pretty sure I can see the comments from Facebook too. I don't know. I can see the YouTube comments for sure. I can't see any X, but that's probably because X only lets like 13 people comment on the stream, which forced us to kind of move away from the platform because we're not really looking for the numbers. We're looking more to communicate with the neighbors and those that live in the area or even in the immediate area or outside of the area where Delaware is, Westchester. You get the gist. Um, so we just want to keep everybody like the line of communication open. Yeah, they did, and that was bizarre. So they were very angry again because these guys can't really. They're given strict orders, and it's uh, some of them are conflicting orders, and these guys like they're just boots on the ground. They're doing their jobs. They don't really have say over the operation. They do what they're told, and we can't blame the officers, and we really can't blame anybody. I mean, this guy is just good at evading them. The only way to, I guess, the people to maybe put a little bit of a blame on is why he was in the prison yard or the jail yard, a convicted murderer with nonviolent offenders. I think that would be the only question I have as far as what happened here. You know, other than that, you can't put you can't place blame on law enforcement. They're doing an amazing job. You can't really. the district attorney. It's her job to prosecute Cavalcante, and she did that. She had him convicted. She got him a life sentence. She brought justice to the family. Prosecutors don't generally get involved in manhunts, so she tried by getting her team involved in everything, and then she handed it over to the state police, which was the right thing to do, because her office obviously doesn't have the resources that they would need to lead that investigation. And she did her job. Her job is done after he's in prison or jail. Once he's convicted, it's game over for her, unless he appeals and does all that. But her job and function is for the murder conviction. That's where her job ends. From there, he would go to state and be state property, and he's their problem, but he didn't make it to state prison yet. So it's a bit of a confusing situation. And the fact that he's a convicted murderer, obviously they had to bring in everything they could to make sure that he at least doesn't hurt anybody. They want to make the community feel at ease, show the presence here, have support in the air, and try to find this guy and bring this thing to a peaceful resolution before anybody gets hurt. That's really their goal. The state police don't even really, they don't want to kill him, but they will if he doesn't surrender, and they see him. Well, they're supposed to give him the opportunity to surrender before they do anything, but there's been a few times where they saw him and gave chase. But again, these guys, it's very rare that a convicted murderer escapes. Typically, it's somebody that's accused of murder or another crime, but a convicted murderer, it's pretty rare. So getting authorization to use deadly force is rather rare, I want to say. So you can't really blame the officers, and especially in today's day and age. But anyway, we'll see what happens. I'm pretty confident that they'll get him eventually. I'm not going to say today. Yesterday when we got there, it was very fluid during the day, and then it died down very quickly at night. And for the most part, it's been very fluid at night and quiet at the day. Now you'll see this truck here. It looks like a, let's see, not sure, but it's law enforcement. But they're just, Longwoods is a huge property. For those of you guys that aren't from the area, it's like an attraction in Pennsylvania, and it's very popular. But probably going to slowly, in about 10 minutes, head off to make sure I get back to some residents and see what the game plan is for today. What I want to do is, if there's no activity, which was not, let me double check my phone, hold on. If there's no activity, which, let me see if there is, one more second. No updates. So, it is what it is. Yesterday, they didn't have any updates until out of nowhere, they fly in. You know, they kind of hit the radar, and it gets very, very, it becomes an action movie almost. It's from 0 to 100. You'll see officers flying down, you'll see planes, you'll see helicopters, you'll see drones, you'll see tactical teams, but that isn't anything out of the ordinary. You want me to stay an hour here? I don't have much to say to you guys right now from here, because I can't. I guess I can go across the street, but there's not really much going on over here at all. It's just like see, I mean, it's the same thing that you see down here that you'll see up there. They haven't released the local sighting, which is, I don't know why. And that's a call that would have to be made by the lieutenant colonel. He hasn't released the footage. They do have footage of him. I can say that, like, for a fact. I've seen it. So they have him on camera at Longwood, but that hasn't been made public yet. And I obviously can't ask for it to be sent to me from somebody because it's not public. I saw it on somebody's phone. They showed it to me, and there is an act like they do have a him on video on at the gardens. So hopefully they release that soon so we can see if he's still wearing that same shirt, which I imagine he is. That thing's got to be disgusting by now. Um, I can't imagine how disgusting the guy is right now after 10 days in this heat with the same clothes on, um, going through the woods and God knows where. I mean, he's either going to the bathroom in the creek or somewhere in the in the garden. So, if you guys are in uh, when they open Longwood Gardens, if you guys see any like feces, obviously, I guess tell security because I highly doubt a customer is gonna do that in the middle of a trail or something. Happy birthday, Tiara. But yeah, guys, there's really nothing here, and I don't want to like show you cars thinking there's action. There's nothing. It's just the normal day, normal activity. You'll see the perimeter everywhere. We passed a bunch of yeah, right. We passed a bunch of troopers on the way here. So this is just what they're doing. It's their job. They're not actively onto him right now. It's not like they have a sighting and they're moving in or they have anything like that. I can tell you that there are tactical teams in the woods, but I'm not sure what their move is right now. But if there's a sighting, I'll definitely let you know. Sorry, I've been getting like 4 hours of sleep, so at this point, I'm like uttering. So there's really nothing here. I'm just a little bit of a media setup, uh, some shade, and that's it. So for those of you guys that are just joining, the idea is going to be to go to a residence house that's in one of the previous areas of interest where the creek connects, so we can kind of see up close that creek um, without getting close to the investigation or interfering with anything, just to give you guys a general idea of what it looks like, the terrain over there. Um, you know, but other than that, we'll go from there to any updates. But I'm not gonna stay at a checkpoint and twiddle my thumbs hoping to see something or hear something. If something happens, it's away from these areas. It's in those areas that we go to. Somehow we end up in the middle of it all, and when we park up, the perimeter turns out being established around us. That happened, geez, about 5 times maybe. Only once were we within the perimeter, like not when it was closed. We were on an open road, and then it became the perimeter, and they had to evacuate for an emergency. But the other 4 times that we were in the area, and then it turned into a perimeter, they let us stay in that spot. So if something pops off, it's very unlikely it's going to pop off anywhere around the surrounding area here. The activity is going to be more focused and geared towards the woods, which is why it's important, guys. Don't go to the woods. Um, that wasn't something that we encouraged at all. I left the stream running so you guys were able to hear like residents speaking and stuff like that. And I only left it running because everybody wanted to feel like they were there. But you guys can distinguish my voice between from theirs. So there was no like encouragement to go there. If anything, it was more along the lines of it's a bad idea toward the end. Um, but it is what it is. That's becoming my new line. That and this is cool. Let me take a little walk over here. Give me a second. Just give you guys a little bit of a something. can see there's like cars parked all the way up over there. We were able to come around the cones and park over here with the media, obviously not going in any of those two directions. But here's what they're dealing with. And this is what I'm going to do later. We're going to go to like a better spot so I can show you guys. But it's very easy, even in spots like this, to sleep, to hide out. It gets kind of deep over here. And this is how it is all around. That's why you can't really just release the hounds and hope they catch the guy. It gets rather difficult to navigate through the woods. That would be crazy if he's at that festival. But, and over here we have Beechwood Drive. And some more of these vans set up the corner. But like that's the landscape around here. It's full of greenery. That's what this area is about. Let me show you this little street. And you can see now during the day, again, there's no street lights, there's no sidewalks. And that's pretty much how it is throughout all of the areas he's been spotted at. The developments he's been spotted at, like Kendall and Water Glen, sorry. Those are one way in and one way out. And yesterday when we went to that other area to show you guys where the 911 call was, there's a lot of communities there that are one way in and one way out. And perhaps he's going into those neighborhoods to know when law enforcement is pulling in, as he'll see the headlights. So it could be a tactic, or he could be getting lucky. But after a while, luck and coincidence starts to turn more into a tactic rather than, because you can't get lucky that many times for running out of luck. One of these times it's going to become something, and you can see there's troopers coming in and out. Basically doing what they've been doing for the past 10 days. Make sure he's not in a tree looking down at us. Can't believe there's that many of you guys watching some trees right now. So like I was saying is there's nothing to report. I wanted to just hop on, let you guys know we're here working to figure out where we're going to go. We know we're going to hit one neighborhood. We've been invited to look at the creek that leads to and from Longwood and Lenape and Water Glen. The tracks. There's a little waterway here. Oh no, there's not. That's just there. Let me double check. No, there's not. I don't know. No, there's not. But look at this. So there's spots like this too. You see this? Look, it's interesting, and it's pretty cool because that's the kind of spots he could be easily ducking into at night. Let's see what's underneath us. No, I doubt he's crawling through something like that. That's not. That would be pretty impressive. But just this thing goes pretty far, and if he is at night laying low in something like this, they're not going to see him. Heck, even with spotlights, there's nothing that's going to see. And look how it's covered by branches. You see, so right here, it's pretty well covered. And when the weather's like this, it's hard to get the thermal imaging. So then you have water there that he can cool down. I don't know if he's drinking out of that. I mean, that's disgusting, but I guess it is what it is. If you're on the run, you're going to drink whatever you can to stay hydrated. But I'm told that there are fresh water fountains and food sources at Longwood by residents that live in the area and have memberships. And now they're saying watch their membership fees skyrocket because of this And they say that there's just a lot of areas that the guy can rehydrate, use the restroom, get a food source, and they don't believe that the gardens per se have cameras outside, except the ones that were placed by various law enforcement agencies. But everywhere we go, we find something interesting, and I think this is the most interesting aspect of this scene right here. Not the police cars, but the place that he can hide. Like these are the points of interest, because you never know if you'll see something. And focusing on police cars, you're not going to find anything. I mean, maybe he left his shirt. Maybe you never know what you'll find. Like maybe he dropped his backpack. Stuff like that is what people are really looking for. Then also areas that he can hide in, just so they have an understanding of just. I don't want to go too far down that way because I think it's private property, but you guys get the gist. Oh yeah, he can easily survive at Longwood Gardens, which is why I think there's that the presence here is so wild. They want to limit his ability to stay there. You can see it's literally a pretty steep little drop. And the landscaping here is beautiful. And it's a nice area, contrary to a lot of reports. Well, not reports. I've seen like a lot of stuff on social media that crime rate and yada yada. This place isn't really used to any crime rate, with the exception of the domestics and stuff to that nature. Obviously, Westchester University has a lot of like um, college-related crimes. You guys know what I'm talking about, but it's not like a crime. There have been very few um, brutal crimes that I've covered in Chester County, and none of them kind of add up to an escaped murderer on the loose. I mean, there were some very heartbreaking stories in the past, like Bianca Roberson, the high school grad who was murdered just before she was about to begin her first year of college. She was driving on the road, and it was an act of road rage where an individual got angry at her and opened fire. And his defense was that he did not intend to kill her. He thought he was going to hit the door or the tire. That's not an excuse, nevertheless, but he shot her in the head as they were driving, and I think maybe 40 miles an hour. And people say that's a very crazy shot. I don't know. I've never shot a gun, but they said that it's a pretty wild shot. So, guys, probably in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to cut it so I can make sure we're set the right way and head to an area, get settled, and start day 10. We've been coming in at around noon because there's nothing really to report on, but we stay until 2 or 3 until it is 100% quieted down. So you see more state troopers coming in. And you're going to see that all day, every day until they catch this guy. It's nothing new. We've been seeing this same stuff for uh, 10 days now. Let me take out my AirPods so you guys can hear the helicopters. Oh, sorry, I think I muted myself, but now you can hear the helicopters. So it's a little bit shaky because I don't have the tripod out. This guy's very low. Wow. Hold on. He's got to be a couple 100 feet. You guys see that? No, you don't, because it's where the trees are. Let me see if I can get a better angle. But this guy's super low. He's got to be several 100 feet, maybe 500, I want to say. You guys, yeah, that was one of the lowest flying ones I've seen. 700? Oh, okay, we've seen lower. If it was a 500, that would be something. But... And you can see that I think that maybe that's not Longwood Fire Department, but generally it has been, where Longwood Fire Department comes around in a golf cart and they give water to the state police. They give food, snacks, and also the state police has like roving troopers that go around doing the same thing, making sure. So you can see, yeah, he gave them a water bottle, and they've been doing that quite often, going around maybe every 45 minutes, bringing them anything they need. Now that would be cool. Maybe I can get that guy to put me on the bed of his little golf cart. We go on a tour of the perimeter just to do a little water deliveries. No, that's not him. But you see, he stops at every car, he grabs my water, and here comes some more troopers right here. There's 1, 2, and they're gonna head up. Oh no, that's a sheriff, and that's a trooper. You guys see, they're very friendly, cool guys and girls that we have at the Pennsylvania State Police. Very professional. And also the local police are very, very, very professional. Everybody's been very welcoming and kind, especially to us outsiders. Oh, well, to us, I guess, specifically. I'm not sure if it's the same for everybody, but our experience has been rather crazy here. Everybody's very welcoming, from law enforcement to the community, and it's greatly appreciated. I think it's the service here, so I'm gonna check. And if it's not, I'll check again if there's something I can do. But you guys can see we're able to stream from here, so we're able to stream on YouTube, X, and Facebook, so that's good. I'm not seeing Facebook comments, I'm only seeing YouTube, just so you guys know. You see, they got chips. They've got like boxes of chips, coolers of water, Gatorade, whatever they need. They're giving a thumbs up to the cop. If the cop needs anything, he waves them down like this, or if he's good, he goes a little thumbs up. Oh, all right. If there's, maybe it's just some service for some people. As long as it looks all right, that's good. But all right, guys, I'm gonna keep it until like maybe it's 50 minutes in, just because I have OCD, and then I'm gonna head out just for a little bit, and then we'll be back. Yeah, they're gonna cut the corn down. And the other stuff. I don't know what that other stuff is called. We called it corn, but people were... That's why I like the comments, because people are able to tell me what it is. And it wasn't corn, but they're cutting that stuff down too, that's surrounding the gardens. It looks like corn fields, but it's not. Some of them are something else. Sorghum. See, that's what I mean. So that's why I need you guys to be able to comment. And that's what the fields are that they're also cutting down. And I just missed the 50-minute mark, so I'll give it till 55. So when it hits 55 minutes, we're going to cut it. Time flies whenever I go on these things, because before you know it, the hour passes and it's going to be night. Uh, when we go live again, it's going to go from day to night before we know it. So the days, I guess, have been flying with the live streams, at least making them feel much quicker. It doesn't feel like we've been here 10 days. We've been here for 10 days, but it really doesn't feel like that because of how fast nightfall comes, and then we're back and we're back here again. Literally, we leave here, head home, sleep for a few hours, and come back, and it's not too far of a drive. So that's really been the routine. Kind of switched up my entire routine to hop on here because the amount of support and viewers has been pretty immense, and I don't want to obviously just cut it in the middle of it. So we're going to be here to the end of it, and he'll air. Hope they catch him sooner than later. I'd rather them catch him like today, so we don't have to be here for another 7 days. I don't like to be in Chester County for a manhunt. I'd rather be out here enjoying the area than out here covering a manhunt for a wanted fugitive who's a murderer. But I'll be on at 6. I'll be on for way sooner than that. Let me see, what time is it? Oh yeah, guys. I'm like, if I cut, it's only going to be like a 45-minute cut. That's a state constable. It's not going to be a 3-hour cut. So it'll be a quick 45 minutes to an hour, and that's about it when we cut. We're not trying. The one night where we stopped it at like 1, and I was telling you guys I'm going to be back, I planned to come back, but I was trying to confirm information about that cell phone and some other stuff for an update before I said anything, because it just sounded a little bit too crazy for it to be real, and it wound up being real. I will. What I can do is probably do that. I just want to go through my phone first and make sure I didn't miss, because I know some of you only have my phone number and you don't have Hong's, and that's an issue because I don't. First of all, even when I'm not live, I'm infamous for, even my best friends know this, I don't answer the phone calls or texts very often. I'm not the best with that. So I have, like, before this even started, I had like 7,000 unread messages on my phone, and now I have like, geez, maybe like 20,000. I'll take a screenshot. I'll put them up. So it's important that you guys also text Hong, so I know it's in relation to this. If it's a group chat, that way he knows it's in relation to this, and not just another story. And of course we want other stories, that's what we do, but right now our focus is Chester County, finishing what we started as far as the coverage and making sure that everybody sees what we see. Nah, so for the first 3 nights, we were ordering Domino's to an active manhunt. It was kind of funny because we didn't have an address. So I told him the address was like the prison. And then I said, call me when you get close and I'll give you directions as to where we are, because we're in like a field. And they were kind of freaked out. I don't know. I'd be freaked out too, given the fact there's a killer on the loose and somebody saying, can you deliver Domino's to a field near the prison? So we kind of freaked them out a little bit, but yeah, guys, and we're not here to slam other content creators. They're all amazing. We need as many angles as we can get, but again, we want to make sure that we're easing the spread of misinformation, not jumping to conclusions. If we hear something that sounds like a gunshot, we don't want to say, oh my God, shots fired, until we confirm it. Obviously, if you hear it live, that's sort of a confirmation, but it's really not solid because it could be unrelated. And unless you hear like rifles going off left and right, back to back to back to back, I mean, then I would assume, it's fair to assume that something just happened. But and you see like troopers running or their radios going off and followed by the gunshots, that's alarming. But we don't want to spread any misinformation, and we don't want people to think he's dead or captured, and then they put their guard down, even if it's a short guard for an hour. What if they put their guard down for the hour and leave a door open and he comes in? It's very dangerous. So we're just trying to make sure that we get the right, like the most accurate stuff out to you guys. And you're going to see activity like this until they catch him. I mean, this isn't a development of any kind. This is just what we've been seeing. And maybe it's because for those of you that have been with us for the past 9 nights, you're used to this presence. So it's nothing new to you guys or to us at all. The only thing that was new was no presence, you know. Yeah, the area is beautiful. Yeah, but I'm hearing that, so there were no, whatever those noises were, they weren't gunshots. That wasn't a thing. You guys are cool on YouTube. Ah, okay, so I guess I gotta stay on. All right, so literally in 3 minutes, I'm gonna cut it for a little bit because we have to, so I can get stuff rolling, so we're not gonna be stuck in a field like this and keep you guys. Yeah, they keep the same amount of law enforcement overnight, especially like this around the perimeter. That's a mirror image. What they do is they'll, when they get relieved, which is what it's called when an officer comes to take over the shift, that's when they'll switch out and it stays as is. But there's really nothing going on. It's a quiet day amid the manhunt. Yesterday it was an active day and a quiet night. So you guys are starting to realize the pattern, kind of. If it's a, we haven't had an active day and an active night yet, so that would be interesting. That would be a development worth obviously going. Locals are very, so it went from scared to now they're still mortified. Obviously, they don't want to go out. They're canceling plans to stay home. The kids can't go to the parks as much as they would like to. I met a very nice Irish woman who has a young son, and they play in the woods and they can't now. So it's been a burden on not just like parents, or it's all ages. I mean, from babies to the elderly. The retirement community that was with a sighting, that's scary. People of all ages. I mean, like I said, this really nice 12-year-old, I think, or I don't want to say 12 because maybe she's like 13 or something, or like a young teenager. She made like a cool little bracelet. So like, there's people of all ages are watching this. It's not just um, adults, and that's why I want to make sure that there's no like vulgarities and stuff like that. I slipped last night when I think we heard something, but it was late at night. So if somebody was watching at like 3 a.m., I don't think it was a young child. So we were in the clear. But we try to keep it like PG-13 as far as anything. And that's why also I feel bad that we left the stream on next to that many residents. Because I'm not sure. I wasn't standing there, so I don't know if they were cursing and whatnot. And I don't want any of that kind of content, especially when there's young people watching. So um, I'm going to be more careful about where we leave it rolling, just so we don't have random people cursing or trying to do like a little PR stunt that can get them in trouble, them hurt, or somebody else in trouble and hurt. You know, so we want to make sure that people are at a safe distance and not adding any stress to law enforcement. All right, guys. So I'm gonna go in about a minute, even though it's gonna go over. So I'll be back in about maybe an hour. All right. So I'll be back in about an hour. I'll send out a tweet to people now. Sounds good.